Hi folks, how we doing? So today it's all about sound. I've got a nice little trick that will hopefully help you to reduce the spins in iRacing and improve your performance. Let's get on with it. Okay, so let's start off. How are we going to improve our sound in iRacing? Doing nothing special, just a couple of settings changes. And why? Why is sound so important? So basically in sim racing, what we've done, well, the biggest difference between sim racing and real life is we have removed the seat of pants feel, the feeling you get from your body of what the car is doing on the track when you're driving it. And because we've removed that, we have to increase all our other inputs to try and make up for that loss that we've made. Now, the seat of pants feel is quite a big chunk of our inputs that we would receive in real life racing. So we have to over exaggerate or exaggerate the other inputs that are available to us in the sim to try and make up for that deficit. Now obviously the main one is steering and pedals, so we spend a lot of time trying to perfect the force feedback on our steering, and we sort of exaggerate the feelings more than we would get in a real life race car. Same for the pedals. We spend way too long on our pedal settings than what we would do as opposed to real life racing. We're always looking for zero tolerance. We're looking for the exact pressure and feedback that we can get from the pedals, and also playing with software to get the correct settings to maximize their performance as much as we can. And again, that is because we're trying to make up for that seat of pants feel. Now, one item that often does get overlooked, which is our other sensory input, is our hearing. And this is a nice simple tweak to help you boost your inputs of what you're hearing from the car, and specifically from the tires. Now, let's get on and I'll show you exactly what it is, and then I'll explain why we do it. So what we do is we go to options, and we're going to go into sound, and we're looking specifically at this box here, which is our sound levels. So as you can see straight away, I've got the master turned up flat out, so it's set as high as possible, and I've turned everything else bar the tires down. So running around about 9 dB on all the settings apart from in-car, which is at 5, and ambient, which is at 8. I don't use the iRacing spotter, so he's got rid of, and then I keep the chat around about 5. Now, the reason we have the tires turned up so high and everything else down so low is because the tires make noise, and we can use that noise. We can learn those different kinds of sounds that the tires are making, and we can use that to gain a performance advantage. So basically, as in real life, the tires are speaking to us as we're driving, but they're only speaking if we understand what they're saying. Now, the tires will make different noises in different situations. So, if they're just driving along normally, they'll sound completely different to if you're pushing too hard and you're sliding the car. And we all know when you slide a car, the tires squeal or there's a scrubbing sound. So the tires will often give sound feedback before you've received any feedback through the steering. So to catch a spin or to know when a spin's coming, it can be up to a couple of seconds before it takes place. You're going to get pre-warning from the tires if you know what to listen to. And at that point, you've got time to back off, bail out, or make adjustments to remove the opportunity of the car spinning. So the other thing the sound is good for is monitoring the stress you're imposing on the tires throughout a race. And this will change, but you can use it to gauge how hard you're leaning on the car and how much more grip you've got left without having to push the car over its limit and increase the risk of spinning in the race. So let's get out on track, and I'm going to talk you through exactly what's going through the tyres and what I'm listening for as I'm driving round. Okay, so we're in the car at Donington Park. We're on the national track, 992, as normal. We're just going to go out and do a couple of steady laps, and I'm going to talk you through what I'm listening to. So I've got the sound of the tyres turned right up now, engine sound and everything else turned down to about -9 dB, around about halfway. And what we can do with the headphones, you can hear, and you should be able to hear while you're watching this film, you can hear the noises the tyres are making when they scrub. So if we just go down here, you can hear just a faint scrub. Now that noise is about perfect, that's about what you want. When you jump in with some of the pro aliens, some of the pro drivers, and not jump, you can't jump in car into their replay video. So if you're in a session with them and you jump in, it will sound completely different and it's of no use. But if you go and watch them on Twitch or one of the videos on YouTube, you'll hear when they drive, the tyres are making hardly any noise. They're sitting them right on their limit. And again, on that knife edge that we keep talking about, but they're not pushing them over. So you can hear them just scrubbing now. And then as soon as we start to get into oversteer, the scrub gets a lot louder. So what we want to do as well is listen to the tyres as we're braking, because we're trying to reduce those micro lockups. They're the ones that fire temperature straight into the tyres and reduce our grip as we enter the corner. So coming down the hill here, we're just going to start to hear the tyres scrubbing up, and that noise is you can hear the tyres scrubbing across the track surface, and that's not too bad, that's okay. What we mean by scrubbing is the tyres are just gently sliding, and if they're moving across the track surface in a sideways motion versus going forward, then what they're doing is causing friction, and friction is creating heat. What we want to try and do is control the amount of heat we're creating. We do want some heat, but we want to control it. We don't want to get them too hot. We want to try and keep the heat as consistent as possible. So we're trying to keep that sound as consistent as possible. What we want to reduce is the sound getting louder for a split second, like that one under brakes, or going away. We're trying to keep a balance, and that's through the whole lap, every lap, the whole race. So come down here, we're just going to brake in, we can keep the sound nice and consistent, so we're not locking wheels, and then on the power, again, trying to keep that sound of the tyres nice and consistent. Down through the corners here, we can just feeding it in, you can hear them scrubbing. Oh, a little bit too much here, we just locked the rear wheel. So we're listening the whole time, and what we're doing is we're filling in the gap that we've left behind by taking our backsides out of the equation in the sim. We're overcompensating with the hearing. So you can hear now, they're just starting to scrub. I'm just getting a little bit of rear wheel steering coming out of the corner, just a tiny bit of oversteer. So what we want to try and reduce is the tyres sounding like a jet engine, and they pick up this really deep roar, and that means they're scrubbing a lot, and they've got very hot, and they've started to overheat, and they've turned into almost jelly. They're going to slide, which basically means the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to slide off the track. You can just hear it there roaring away, and then bop, we're getting straight into oversteer coming out of a corner. So down here I'm going to try and work them a bit hard. I should lean on them quite hard going up to the McLeans here. And there you can see, you can hear the roar in the background, and then straight away we understeer off the track. It's because we're pushing too hard on the tyres. Now, this has always been important in iRacing, but not even more so since the last update, the last big update with the tyres. The tyre model being changed, so when the 992 pretty much came out and they introduced a new tyre model, the tyres have become so critical now in the racing that we have to do everything we can to try to take care of them, because they do drop off after 4 or 5 laps. and then you have to try and nurse them through the rest of the race. So by using this sound advice, you can monitor them more easily as well with your ears instead of relying on the feeling that you're getting through the steering. And this is definitely going to help those who maybe haven't got a direct drive wheel. So if you're on a belt drive or you know, G920, G29, this is going to help you a lot more to try and gauge as you're driving exactly what the tyres are doing. Alright, so now we'll try and do a marginally quicker lap without abusing the tyres. You can hear the difference. I'll do my best. Still getting quite a bit of oversteer on the exit of the corners, but that's more setup than driving, I think. There we go. Okay, so hope that helped you guys out. Let me know if it did in the comments down below, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more films like that from me in the future. Any questions you have, hit me up in the comments as well, and I'll try to do my best to answer them. Have a good new year, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers for watching. Thanks.